Welcome to TechZact. Today I'm gonna speak about a refurbished product, which is the LG 29UB67 UltraWide monitor. Refurbished means that it's got some scratches, but otherwise it's working perfectly, just like a new one. So let's begin. Let's start with the specs. This ultrawide monitor is 29 inches with aspect ratio of 21:9, featuring an ultrawide Full HD resolution. The response time is 5 milliseconds, which is nothing special. Okay, what's more? A 60Hz IPS panel with LED backlight technology for energy efficiency and long lifespan. Regarding the refresh rate, I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube, according to which you can overclock it to 75 Hz, but I didn't try it because I can harm the monitor, so if you want to try it, you're doing it at your own risk. I will put a link into the description how to overclock it. There are two softwares for this monitor. One of them is the screen split, with which you can choose basically any window arrangement, whether you want to have 2, 3 or even 4 windows divided on your monitor. I think 4 is too much. The windows are too small, and even if you only have 2 windows, it's not comfortable to look at both of them from one position. That's why I think this monitor should be curved. Even though it's not good to look at both sides, it's really great to watch movies because almost all the movies are made in 21:9, and it is also good for programming, doing hard work with Excels and many other multitasking activities. I mainly used only one window most of the time because I don't like if something is not directly in front of my eyes. The other software is called the dual controller, which we need if we want to connect 2 computers to this monitor. The software has to be installed on both devices, and this way you can use only the main computer's keyboard and mouse to operate simultaneously on both computers. I will link a good video where it's shown how to make it possible, because sadly I wasn't able to do it due to an error on the software on my laptop. In terms of games, it's not so good because some of them are not prepared for this aspect ratio, mainly the older games. I mean, there are 2 black bars on each side, but in general, if you have this much money, you should buy a 144Hz monitor if gaming is important for you. What I really like in this monitor is that if I turn off the PC, the monitor also turns off automatically and it doesn't emit any light at all. You may think that it is a default thing with all of the monitors, but that's not true because I've had one and I had to turn off all the time. What about the design? The bezels are rather thin than thick, but there are much thinner bezels on the market. For me, it's not a big problem because after a couple of minutes you don't even recognize that they are there. We cannot find glossy plastic anywhere except the logo on the back, but it's totally a minor glossy surface. The stand is quite big, but it has to be big for excellent stability. On the back of the stand we can find a cable holder that is moving up and down if we want to change the height of the monitor. This cable holder is perfect for simple and clean desk setup. In terms of adjustability, this monitor is the heaven. You can adjust the height in quite big range. You can tilt the monitor forward and backward. You can also swivel it to the right or to the left, and it's really funny because it's almost 90 degrees. And I almost forgot that there's also pivot mode, but honestly I don't really see when can it be useful. On the back we can find a Kensington lock slot and built-in speakers, which we cannot really see, but they are there, and you shouldn't use those except in emergency cases. They are quite loud, but the quality is not so good. It's definitely not good for listening to music or watching movies. I would say only for meetings, listening to speakings. The back features Visa compatibility, so that's a plus if you want to have extremely custom positions. There's only one joystick button in the bottom center for operating in the menu, which is cool, I think, because it's more comfortable than pushing 4 buttons only for changing the brightness. Speaking of the menu, it's really easy and intuitive to navigate in there. Okay, here we have the menu. On the bottom we can find the turn off functionality. On the right we can find the PVP, which I was talking about, so that you can use the monitor with 2 computers at the same time. Okay, on the upper side we can find a picture mode where you can choose basically any kind of mode, but I don't really use those. I always use it on custom. Okay, and on the left we can find the menu. Here you can basically set the basic settings. PVP, which I was talking about, picture mode, I was talking about it a couple of seconds ago. Picture adjust, here you can set the sharpness level, the response time. Here you can even choose the off, but I don't really understand it. I always use it on high, and I haven't noticed any difference between these. Okay, so here we can find the sound. So from where does the sound come from? You cannot find here the DVI because, as I said, it cannot transfer audio signals. So okay, that's all. Here in the general we have the language settings, smart energy saving. If you turn it high, then it dims the brightness of the monitor a little. Power LED, it means that so that this joystick does emit light or not. Automatic standby 4 hours, so that means that even if you are working on this monitor, then it asks you whether you want to turn it off or not. And the OSD lock, so that if you have, for example, children in the house and you don't want them to play with the monitor settings, then you can turn it on. And basically that's all. To hear the sound when using the DVI port, connect the PC's audio out port to the monitor's audio in port using the cable that came with the product. But if it's a refurbished one, then maybe you won't get that cable. So I think it's much more easy to use some other kinds of ports, for example the HDMI or the display port. The connectivity, you can find a wide variety of ports on the back of the monitor, which are the following: USB Type B port to be able to use the 3 pieces of USB 3.0 Type A ports, a DVI port, a display port, 2 pieces of HDMI ports, an audio in port to be able to hear the music from the monitor when using the DVI port, because DVI transfers only video signals. What's more, an HP port for using the headphones, and last but not least, the power input. The USB ports are located on a really good spot, they are easily reachable, but all the other ports are quite hard to reach and plug in anything. Let's speak about the panel. It's an IPS panel which is giving us perfect colors and viewing angles. The surface of the display is matte, so you won't have reflection problems. The panel is sadly just 60 Hz, so for gaming it's not ideal, but for content creation it's much better. I do have a 144 Hz monitor which is not ultra-wide, but I rather choose that for video editing than this. I think a high refresh rate is just amazing. The resolution is ultra-wide Full HD, which gives us a proper pixel density for reading or writing, even for content creation. But for photo editing, I would recommend a higher pixel density, for example a 4K monitor. Last but not least, the price. If you want to buy a new one, then it's gonna be around 250 euros, but a refurbished one could be just around 220 euros. I wouldn't recommend this monitor because it's not curved. If it was, then I would recommend it. Alright, that's been it. I hope you liked the video. If yes, hit the like button and also don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye!